Newcastle City Council regular council meeting of Monday, January 6, 2025 to order. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, as we come together as this current council and the incoming new council, we ask for your guidance and your wisdom to lead with humility and compassion. Grant us all the strength to work together in unity, valuing each member's unique contributions that they will bring. Help us to communicate openly, listen attentively, and support one another through challenges. May our decisions be made with integrity, always seeking the greater good for Newcastle. Empower the new leader with the vision to guide us towards our shared goals, and may we always strive to reflect your love in our collaborations. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting and executive session of Monday, December 16th, 2024.
So moved.
Second. And can we get approval of the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any nominations for recognition?
I have a certificate of recognition I'd like to present. Sergeant Kaminsky and I have been watching Officer Jacob Esposito for the last year, and he has excelled quite well in the area of impaired driving enforcement, and we would like to present him a certificate this evening for that, if you could come forward. Sir? Just a quick spiel on what he's actually done. I've been an officer in this county for almost 16 years, and the average officer gets about between 3 and 5 DUI arrests per year. Officer Esposito has arrested 31 people for impaired driving this year in the city of Newcastle. So that's between 6 and 10 times more arrests than the average officer. So he's done very well in that area, and we would like to congratulate him for that.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate somebody for recognition.
Okay, that's the next one. So who would you call?
Celine Rumore with Twirl Wind Dance Studio. All right. They did a really wonderful production of the Nutcracker, and she wrangled all those little girls so well, and it was just really nice to watch. And she's young too. I don't think she's even graduated high school yet, and she's already working with those little girls like that. I thought it was really great.
Thank you. Any other nominations for recognition? Claims against the city dated January 6, 2025.
Madam Mayor, I move that we pay our bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Moving on to swearing in. Casey Haggerty.
All right, so I guess we'll do Mayor-elect Tyrell Owens first.
Where do you want me?
Right here,
Right
I
here,
guess.
that's the spot.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Tyrell Owens,
do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear, thank you, swear and affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment,
that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment,
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll do our re-elected Tom Voss, Darren Downs, and Chris Kenny we can do together. Sorry about that. Okay, we'll just go in order for names. I, state your name.
Hi, Darren Downs, do solemnly.
Hi, Chris Kenny.
I, Thomas Paul.
And then we can all say this together. Do
Do
solemnly
solemnly swear and affirm that I will support,
Obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming, that I have not knowingly violated any law related to the election or appointment, or caused it to be done by others, and I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Please.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll go ahead and move on to citizens business verbal, Northeast Wyoming Advocacy Resource Center.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Gould, and I am the domestic violence and sexual assault advocate here in Weston County. And we're the Northeast Wyoming Advocacy Resource Center. As you stated, we go in Newark now. So I'm just here today to kind of provide you with a quarterly update of kind of what we've been doing here within Weston County. So since our last time I was here, which was September 16th, I believe, we have been assisting over 24 clients for those type of victimizations that we saw with these. We had 1 for sexual assault, 3 sexual assaults of a minor, 13 domestic abuse, 1 human trafficking, and 6 for stalking. So that's kind of giving you a picture kind of what this past quarter has looked like victimization-wise in our field of work that we do. So some of the services we provided, these are supportive services that we do with our clients. Personal advocacy, we did over 104. Crisis advocacy, we did 35. Emergency shelter, 7. Legal advocacy, 83. And information referral, 50. So I'm really excited to share we have 2 new staff members. One of them is remote, and she does our outreach education, and she provides classes to the entire community through Love and Logic, it's a parenting curriculum, as well as the All-State Financial Budgeting class, all free. They're wonderful classes, and she does a great job. She had one particular client, there was some disabilities with it, and remotely she did incredible with it. So I'm excited to get that kind of going with her having that ability to do that. And then we have another outreach team member, and she does a lot of our newsletters. We do those quarterly, and she's going to be doing a lot of the outreach activities that we see through the monthly awarenesses. So prime example this month is Stalking Awareness Month. And then we have teen dating violence in February, so she's going to be going into schools and getting in with the kids and all that type of thing. So hopefully we'll get an update to you of what those activities will be and kind of share them with you. And then, so what we've been doing is myself and the executive director with Crook County, so she's my boss over there. Her and I got the opportunity to teach at the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy along with Sergeant Stevens, and we got to train a bunch of new advocates, whether they were through a nonprofit or they were through victim witness through like the county attorney's office. We got to teach on domestic violence and stalking.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
We got to teach on domestic violence and stalking. I got to do the stalking portion, and then I'm going to kind of merge into my next section here of kind of the partnerships we have here in town. I love putting this training together. It really highlighted what we in the agency and the police department have done with a particular case to kind of highlight how to work with each other. It can be kind of difficult for advocates and law enforcement to kind of see eye and eye, but it was a good thing to be able to present and do that. And our relationships have been building throughout the community, not only with just people, the VOA we've been working with a lot, as well as Wyoming 2 WYO helps, and then we have the 211 that we've been doing to refer, but to meet people one-on-one. And so it really helps when we're able to walk over with our clients and help them feel more supported that way and doing like a one main basis type thing. So that's what we've been up to. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask, or if they come at any later date or time, you're always more than welcome to call, and we're happy to talk to any of you about any of it. So that's it. Any questions or anything?
How much of your facility and people are right here in Newcastle?
Those were all. So all the ones that I had listed for our new hires or victims.
New hires.
New hires. So our one is remote, and our other one isn't out of Sundance, but she can come down here too, and so she's assisting me here. So it's helped with those new hires, because when it was just Sandy and myself, the executive director, and when we were in Crook County, her and I were able to manage all the different forms of advocacy, and outreach and awareness is one of those. But when it was just her and I doing both Crook County and Weston County, is extremely difficult for us to be able to do that. So our main outreach gal is primarily out of Sundance, but she'll come down if I need assistance or help with something. And then give me your remote gal will come in anytime. So.
When we are asked, because one time I was asked about how a person could get help.
Sure.
What do we tell them now?
That's a great question. They can come, so we are still in the same location that people know it as Focus before, so we're in the county attorney's office, the Old Pinnacle Bank. They can come in Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, or they can always call our office number 24 hours a day. So if they get to a point where they're ready to reach out and ask for help, they can make that phone call or come on in, and we start that process with them. So we're available 24 hours.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anything else? Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to citizens' business in writing, and it doesn't look like we have any. So, on to old business, ordinance number 4, series 2024, third reading. I left my packet down there. I just need to read. Okay. So ordinance number 4, series 2024, an ordinance adding section 16-11.2 of the Newcastle Town Code. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Newcastle, Weston County, Wyoming. Section 6-11.2 be codified into the Newcastle, Wyoming Municipal Code, reading in its entirety as follows. Section 16-11.2, use of engine compression brakes, Jake brakes prohibited. No person shall operate or use any vehicle engine compression brake within the corporate limits of the city. Do I have a motion to accept the third reading of ordinance number 4, 2024?
I so move, to what you said.
Second. We have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I just want to be sure that we're clear about not issuing tickets right away and,
Yes.
okay.
The first thing I think we should do is to get it at least out on social media, and probably in the newspaper would be a good idea as well. And get people educated that it is a law. And then even after that, we'll make some stops, give some warnings, give kind of a grace period there. And then after that, if we don't get compliance, we'll go forward with citations.
Do we know?
There's no signs yet, right?
That's what.
Oh, I guess I don't know, Greg said they were ordered or something
I
like
don't
that.
think there's any signs yet, so you can't do anything until signs are.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. I don't see any new business, so moving on to committee and council member reports, standing committee appointments. So first order of business, I'd like to appoint Thomas Voss as the council president. And then, does that require a motion, Double? Or is that just something that the mayor's allowed to do?
Actually, no, I think the mayor actually does dictate that.
Okay. And then, for now, if there's no objection, I think that everybody's committee appointment will stay the same, except for Chris will just fill all of my committee assignments. There's, a list in front of you, Chris. And I think you're well suited to a couple of those committee assignments. Well, I'm not opposed if anybody feels like they're qualified to be on another committee or they don't want to be on the same committee, just to approach me later and we can talk about it.
For Stacy, when you get a new one, okay.
Is there any other standing committee reports?
I don't have a standing committee report, but I would, I'd like to bring a point of order that for instance, I'm on the board committee and I like being on the board committee, but one of our boards has their regular meeting night on Monday, the first Monday of every month, and that is the recreation board. And I would like to have this council send them a nice letter that said, would you please change your meeting night, and so that one of us could at least show up once in a while. And I so move. You don't second, see how you are.
Well, we have a motion for us to send a letter to the recreation board to see if they can move their regularly scheduled meeting. Do we have a second?
It's at the same time?
Excuse me?
It's at the same time. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I was asking if it was at the same time.
Yeah. But now we're in discussion. So,
Well, yes, I believe that they are at the same time as our meeting is. You can't go there and then come here, or vice versa. And so it seems, I've tried on 2 occasions to do just that, and it didn't work. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
that seems to make sense to me, that if it's overlapping and you guys aren't able to attend, that you should be able to attend. So, all in favor of the motion that's on the floor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay. Motion passes. I guess, are you gonna give them a letter? Thanks. Thanks. Does any of the other council have anything to report? Nothing?
I have a question. Okay, there is a street that my brother lives on, at the corner of Summit and I think it's Winthrop. You know, this Episcopal Church is right across the street. When you pull up to go and pull up on Summit Street, there's these bushes, and they've been there for years, and it's right in front of Carl Sundstrom's house. And right straight across the street, if you pull up there, there's a telephone pole, and I would like to have one of those big round discs put on that telephone pole, and my question is, who do you ask and how do we get that done?
Maintenance.
Great. Well, he's absent, okay, so, but does that call for a motion? I mean, and this August body have to decide to do that?
Well, for one, if you're gonna actually allocate some resources to doing so, yes. One of the things is without Greg being here, it might be something that we bring up at the next meeting.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it then. That's good.
Okay. Anybody else? No? All right, moving on to department head reports, Attorney Dublin Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing to report this week.
All right. On to clerk treasurer Stacy Haggerty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had included in your packets just information about the Land Winter Conference. Newly elected member Chris Kenny had asked about the boot camp, which gives him the required training. And there is no fee involved in that, but in the past, I did see that there were some reimbursements for council members that wanted to attend the land conference. Doesn't look like anybody's gone since 2020. But I just wanted to make sure that that was still appropriate and okay with the council to reimburse members that chose to go to that conference or portions of the conference at once.
It's a good.
Brinkley doesn't play any of those sports, but I know that if she wanted to wrestle or play lacrosse or rugby or something, I would be very glad that she has it to where she could do it with women and not with the men.
Did you see it, Sonia? Blowing up
What's
this
that?
fast and this big? Did you? I mean, you're.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I know that girls have wanted to have that opportunity to do that. And so, it's daunting to think about wrestling boys, and it's tough when you go into a sport pretty much knowing that there's no way I'm going to win, and to keep at it and keep passionate about it. And so to have your own division where you're wrestling against, women, because like Alexis said, it's biology. The boys are going to be stronger in high school than you are, no matter how good you are.
But I just wanted to make sure that that was still appropriate and okay with the council to reimburse members that chose to go to that conference or portions of the conference at once.
It's a good conference.
Well, like I was telling Clerk Haggerty, this would give me training.
It's a step up.
The board certification.
Board certification required.
I'd make a motion that it would be acceptable to pay the reasonable fees for council members and newly elected personnel to attend the WAM meetings. I feel this has been some good information that I've been to several of these. Gotten back to us during some of these breakout sessions. And some of the newly people to the board of council here would probably get some good information back.
Much for discussion. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the reimbursement of the fee for the WAM winter convention. Do we have any discussion? Do we have any discussion?
Should we put a limit on that? That's an expensive place to stay.
Usually it's been at that, Little America.
But that's what this is.
I love that place.
And you're right there.
Yeah, right
So
there
I
for the
think it's
convention.
handy.
You've gone
Yeah.
before.
You and I were gonna go during, and then COVID happened.
The motion does have the word reasonable in it, so we could decide as a council if they got unreasonable.
I really don't think that it's unreasonable to send our people to training, especially when nobody's attended since 2020.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't think it's unreasonable to send people so that we can have well-trained council people in our community, so.
I agree.
I think it's a great idea.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you. My next item is the BMS pay proposal that I've included in your packets. This is just a different company to process our online credit card payments. It actually integrates better with our Black Mountain software that we already have. And I do believe we would actually save about $500 a year going with the BMS pay.
Councilman Boss?
Okay, now, if we have, First Northern Bank is one of our banks, and we pay our bill, they, right on their website, they have a bill pay, right with our checking account. Why can't we just do that, instead of pay anybody?
Well, this is for our incoming payments for our customers. Some customers do use that, but that's for the customer to set up.
Oh, okay, thank you, that clarifies that.
Do we need a motion to go with this then?
It is a contract, so I believe so.
I make a motion that we go ahead and go with EMS pay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Is there any further discussion?
And one question, typically when we do credit card transactions, there's a fee and receipt, and this one here is a 3% or a $2.50 minimum. Does the customer pay that transaction fee then? Okay.
Good question. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you. My next item, I did include a budget billing agreement for the pilot budget billing program. All of the clerks have looked at that, and we believe that that would cover what's needed unless Attorney Hughes has any different suggestions or thoughts.
I have no issue in terms of the language on it.
sentence down in there that the customer acknowledges the city shall have no obligation to notify customers in advance of changes in amount due resulting from recalculations. I know we talked about that one, is to make sure that that customer knew if it was gonna increase or decrease. And I think the communication to those customers is something we really need to be sure we're doing. I just didn't want us to put into that piece that we're not notifying the customer that they're gonna get a increase in their bill. Other than that, I didn't really see anything else. But
Other than we're stating that the customer acknowledges that.
Right.
I think since they got involved in agreement, that we had a duty to notify them. I mean, that's just.
I mean, you know, we talked about that in a couple of our other meetings, is if they're gonna set it and then it didn't really cover it, then you're gonna have to adjust it twice almost to cover the shortage and to cover into that to let them know, hey, this is gonna increase your bill. And then when I read this, it tells me that we're not gonna give them, that customer, that information. We're not gonna let them know that.
If I may, counsel, the language there just basically states that, as it says, the customer acknowledges the city shall have no obligation to notify customers. I mean, contractually speaking, you could, the city in theory could do that. The only thing with that is I don't suspect that if there was a recalculation, and I could be wrong on this, but Stacy, down at the clerk's office, you guys send out notifications for all the water payments, correct?
Yes.
If it came to it that the council didn't like that language, that could be taken out. I think either way, all that is basically, in a way, it's an indemnity for the city, just in case someone doesn't send it out at one time.
If we have an obligation to the customer, we can still direct the clerk to make sure that they're notified. That has nothing to do with the contract.
Usually, if we do have a mistake happen and a bill has to be recalculated, we send out a new bill in the mail. If it's something that's very large, we do make a phone call, but that doesn't happen very often.
Is this, I missed the last council meeting, is this something that we're trying to adopt this meeting? Or is it something that's still a draft that's in work? Because I attended the committee meeting where we discussed this, and I thought it was a great thing to do for the city. So I don't know where Mayor Gualtieri came up with it, but it's it was good. It was something good to fix a problem for the people that were having difficulty paying their bills. So,
I have recollection that we also said in that committee meeting that this was to be like for 10 to 15 people as a pilot program.
Right. So, are we trying to fix the language in the contract, and are we trying to move forward with adopting it as a pilot program for 10 to 15 people?
I think after the clerk's comment, that I have no objection with the contract now.
You know, we're in that, already in the process, that we're notifying them. I just hate to have someone come in and they're bitching at you guys, coming in and saying, my bill is.
They're used
twice
to
a-
that.
But, we're trying to limit that, And if we can take care of it on our side, I think it's gonna make it better for the customer and for you guys at the front desk.
When we talked as the committee and we were gonna have the clerk and the staff check it like every 3 months to see, so if people during that pilot program, there is a big difference, we would notify them right away, just so they're not way behind or we're way ahead in a credit area. So I think with it being that 10 to 15 people in that pilot program, it's going to be a learning curve for the council and the city hall staff. And I mean, they may want to check it just to see how off people are that first month, if they're only going to be checking 10 to 15 people. Because that's what the other communities did, is they checked it every 3 months and made the corrections as that pilot program was going on. So then once that pilot program was over and they opened it up to the whole community, they kind of got all those bugs out on how to calculate it, so there wasn't a huge credit at the end or a huge negative that those people had to come up and pay. So, so I think it's going to be a learning curve for everyone to see what's going to be the best scenario for those in this community. So I think it's going to be a learning curve for everyone to see what's going to be the best scenario for those in this community.
I think during the committee meeting also that we discussed if their bill got too haywire, because there was some concern that it might get to be too large of a bill, unbalanced. So it was, that's why we're adopting it as a pilot program, so that we can just see how it works. So, would anybody entertain a motion to adopt the pilot program?
I'd make a motion that we adopt the budget billing agreement in the program.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I like the idea that you explained that to identify the city was not having to be obligated, so I like the word identify.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes, the ayes. I think that's going to be great for the city.
Thank you. My last item is just to remind the council that our next meeting will be on a Tuesday, the 21st, with the holiday being on the 20th. And that's all I have.
Thanks for tagging. Public Works Supervisor Greg Stomp is absent tonight, so he provided me with some notes. The first set of notes is concerning the positive samples for the revised total cool form rule. So just some backstory on this. It's a requirement of any drinking water system to provide sampling throughout the water system to make sure that the water is safe to drink. Total coliform bacteria are kind of a precursor. They just let us know that there's a possibility that there could be some negative bacteria in the water. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop drinking water, and it just lets you know, it's a precursor thing that lets you know that there's a problem in the system that needs to be identified. So concerning the positive samples, Public Works Supervisor Stumpf visited with Region 8 EPA several times, and he suspects that what caused the chlorination in October 2024 is continuing to cause problems, and that's why we're chlorinating and flushing again. So people in the community are going to notice that the city shop is out there flushing the lines, and we are going to have to chlorinate again. So that's why the TC samples are random and inconsistent. So it's been really difficult for them to pinpoint where the contamination is getting in. So we have plotted the TC positive on Google Earth for EPA, and we've sent a flushing plan to EPA. We're waiting for approval to continue And while we do have TC positive samples, I do not believe the water to be unsafe to drink because of how random the samples are. And we've collected samples within minutes of each other and have one sample TC positive and the next is TC negative. So the water is safe to drink. The city shop is trying to find the cause of problem. And then moving on, Public Works Supervisor Stumpf is trying to, he interviewed Zachary Benshoff, and he's reviewed his references and completed pre-employment screenings, and he requests that the council offer a position to Zachary at a starting rate of $18 per hour and with a 1-year probation. One thing that he did want to throw out there was that we haven't pinned down a start date for him because he kind of wanted to see if he got the job before he put in his 2 weeks notice with his other employer.
Well, I move we hire this gentleman as Greg has asked.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. We're gonna hire Zachary Benshoff at a starting rate of $18 per hour with a 1-year probation. Next report is the 2025 improvements project. So, so this is one for the council. The Public Works Supervisor made an error on the resolution for this project, and he'd intended on borrowing $1.1 million from the SRF, but he accidentally transposed some information and he wrote the resolution for $1 million instead. So there's two options. We can simply revise the application to match the resolution. This will keep the funding request on February meeting to receive funds. The other option is to change the resolution to match the application. And we will also have to hold a new public meeting and advertise for the funding change and advertise the new public meeting. So this will postpone the funding request until at least April. So if we revise the application, we're not losing funding because this is not a grant. The funding is a loan through the state revolving funds program. If we change the loan to $1 million versus 1.1, we would not have to pay back that portion of the loan. So we'd be getting a smaller loan, minus $100,000. So we also have already paid over $100,000 for design and permitting work. So his recommendation was we leave the funding request at $1 million in the interest of completing the project this year. So he had approached me prior to the meeting about this, and I asked him to approach the council because it's really a council decision. So are we comfortable with just asking for the $1 million through the state revolving fund program, or do we want to adjust it to $1.1 million and then have to redo the public meeting and everything like that? What's the council's thoughts?
I think we ought to go with $1 million and forego having to redo everything. Because we've already spent $100,000 and that's taken care of. So the $1 million should do the project, right?
As far as I could tell, Greg said that the $1 million should take care of the project, and he didn't think that paying back the interest on another $100,000 on top of what we were already paying on the $1 million was going to be you know, that bad for the city, so. Do we need that in motion form, that we just keep it the way that it is?
I would have a motion for it, just so that everyone's only understanding of what's going on.
Does everybody understand?
We're changing the resolution down to $1 million from $1,000,001.
Well,
we passed the resolution.
Right, so he had accidentally sent in the resolution with $1 million on it that was already passed, I believe.
And the council passed that resolution.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So, do we need a motion to maintain that?
Seeing that there's no other money being asked for and there's no actual action on it, right? Is there some sort of action that is going to happen in terms of having to talk to another entity or?
No, I think it just boils down to the application going to them as it is right now.
Okay.
To the February meeting, I believe.
Okay. No, I don't think you'd have to have a motion for that, especially since it's already been passed, as long as the resolution went through on that.
So we'll just let Greg know that, that leave it as is. All right, thanks, council. And then, the landfill number 2 closing. We have reserve funds marked for landfill closure in the amount of $850,000. So, he would like to plan to use the funds for landfill number 2 closure. Depending on the new estimated cost of closure, we may not need to apply for an SRF loan for the city's portion of the closure. So he's asking us to make a motion to pay the $850,000 out of reserves so that we don't have to take out a loan for the city's portion of the closure.
So if we take out $850,000 from this reserve, how much do we have left?
That is actually all of the landfill closure. I mean, it's already earmarked for a closure.
So it isn't gonna dip into anything else?
It's already earmarked for the closure.
Okay. And we're sure the money's there?
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
And we're sure the money's there?
Verified with the auditor that we were good to spend it if needed.
Okay.
So do we have a motion?
I move.
For, yeah, the $850,000 that have been earmarked for the landfill closure, to be used for the closure of landfill number 2 so that we don't have to take out an SRF loan.
Just like you said, I move that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. And I believe that is all of the highlighted notes for Public Works Supervisor Greg Stone. I hope he gets to feeling better. So moving on to Police Chief Derek Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item are the calls for service since December 17th. 2024, Newcastle Police Department 206, Weston County Sheriff's Office 163, Upton Police Department 1, Newcastle Volunteer Fire Department 3, Weston County Fire Protection District 0, Upton Volunteer Fire Department 1, Newcastle Ambulance 32, and Upton Ambulance 4. My second item is the K-9 service contract that I passed out to everybody. I've had Attorney Hughes look over that, and he seems to be okay with it. I don't know if you guys had a chance, and I should have emailed it out before, I apologize. But that would be a contract between the city and the Weston County Peace Officers Association. It was something that was kind of overlooked in the chaos of everything. The dog, it should be done at the end of this week, ready for patrol after that. And this contract basically just sets some terms between the police department and the Peace Officers Association as far as different scenarios that could occur with the dog and how those scenarios will be handled. It kind of outlines who's responsible to pay for the upkeep of the dog and things of that nature. And if the dog were to be injured or something like that, the courses of action that could be possibly taken in that, if something like that were to occur. And that's not completely finalized. Obviously, there needs to be some sections on there for signatures and things of that nature, but for the most part, that's the meat and potatoes of it. Did anybody have any questions on that contract or anything like that, or did y'all get a chance to go through it?
Is everybody good on the contract for the K-9?
We need a motion?
We already have a motion passed way back when we took dog.
Yeah, okay. So we don't need one.
Well, for him to offer, because just to be clear, this is the contract they sent you basically, or is it vice the opposite of that? You sent it to them?
I wrote it.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't take all the credit. I found a template on the internet.
And your intent with this is just to send this to them for their signature?
And they've already reviewed it. They were good with it. So, yeah. They've had some issues in the past where handlers left, and usually when you get a dog after they ran for a couple of years, it's almost not worth the cost to rehandle them because of their working lifespan. And I talked to the guy that sold us the dog, and he said he used 5 years. We'll get more than that out of this dog, but he said on the average use a 5-year number as a way to expense it out essentially if the dog were to have to retire or say the handler left and wanted to take the dog, they would have the option to purchase out essentially the remainder of the lifespan of the dog, things of that nature. So.
Council, all I would say on this is that there would be a motion for him to basically offer this out to the other entity involved. I know that we had a motion in the past to get the dog and everything else, but this is a contract, one which I don't believe was contemplated at the time.
Make a motion that we accept this contract for you to send out. Whatever.
Signature.
Do we have a second?
Okay, second.
Okay. We have a motion properly seconded to send the contract for the K-9 to the appropriate entity. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you, council. And my last item is I would like to schedule a police committee meeting. And just briefly, I'll describe briefly what I would like to talk about is we need to find a way to be more aggressive in finding officers. I have a feeling that we're going to lose another officer later this spring, and I just don't have any applicants rolling in. The last one that I put through the process didn't cut it, and we need to go back to the drawing board on how to get officers to come here. And not only police officers, but the community service officer. I received one application for that position. And I received a email, I guess, of interest from another gentleman, but he could only do, well, he asked if it was flexible as far as the hours go. But he works a 4-on, 4-off schedule at another job. And I told him if I didn't have anybody else that was interested, we may be able to entertain some type of a part-time position or something like that. So I would like to have a police committee meeting to discuss that. I don't know when you would all be available.
I'm available
I can do it anytime next week.
Anytime next week.
Do after 4:30.
Yeah, that would be fine.
So, that's good with me too.
Okay.
You just tell me when and we'll do it.
Well, I shouldn't have said what I just said, because I can't do it Monday or Thursday.
Can't do it Monday or Thursday? Okay. How about Tuesday, the 14th?
Oh, yeah, that would be
Tuesday's tomorrow.
Tuesday, no, the 14th, he said.
Yeah, next week from tomorrow.
Okay. That's
That'd
good.
be fine.
4:30?
4:30.
Okay.
Is there anything else, chief?
No, sir, thank you.
I have a question for the chief.
Oh, go for it. Any questions for the chief?
Okay. On the claims tonight, we voted to pass it at item number 24948. It says badges.
That's the fire department, I believe, Tom.
I apologize, I thought maybe you had something to do with badges. Okay.
We need some, but I haven't ordered any.
Nobody from $6,673.58 badges. Do you have any explanation of that?
Yeah, as we're closing out this last year, we'll be voting on new officers on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And every year we go through and do an inventory of what we have on hand for badges for incoming officers.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the cost for a badge. They are really expensive.
We're in the wrong business. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I had. I thought it was you. That's good.
It wasn't. I can tell you they're anywhere between $130 and $180 a piece for us, so.
And we use the same badge as they do.
Okay. Just ask them, that's all. Want to check out on the people's money.
Hey, Mayor Gualtieri, can I get a couple of your signatures before we call the executive session?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Executive session.
There we are. Is that it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is an executive session. Wyoming State Statute 16-4-405 AII personnel.
Before we go into executive session, I'd just like to thank Pam for the last 4 years of service to our town, and thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I'll be serving in other ways.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I move we go into executive session.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Moving into executive session at 7:58.
Bye, dear. Your Honor.